So one big topic at the Medientage in München, at the Media Days in Munich, is the blockchain technology, and it's really, really weird to see what's going on here, because sometimes it feels like we have a conference in 1994 where we present the internet to people who are in the media industry, because I think no one has a clue that there's going on a big revolution in technology. And I'm more than happy to introduce you to this show. It's Wardah Chaudhary and Inkrypt here. You both work with the blockchain technology and try to solve a big issue in journalism. It's about censorship and making content available, breaking boundaries in different countries. So maybe you can just start to introduce to me, what is the feature about? What do you present with the product?
So we're representing Inkrypt, and basically it's a Harvard-incubated, decentralized cloud platform that is designed to be a solution for global issues like censorship of media, whistleblowing, and other verticals that require a high level of privacy and security.
So to put it in the simplest of terms, what we're doing is we're storing all content on the internet. It could be videos, photos, text, in a way that no third-party malicious actor or government could censor it. And so we believe that there are several verticals that could really benefit from this, specifically media and journalism, whistleblowing, something Wardah mentioned. We're also working with healthcare records, but over here we're specifically coming to Medientage to talk about the use cases that journalism and media can really benefit from.
So when you talk to the people you want to sell the product to, you're not talking about the technology blockchain. So you talk more about the use case, because I assume that it's quite hard to make them understand what's going on underneath the surface, right?
That's true, Michael. That's why what we truly believe is that a hallmark of a great technology is that it's invisible. So we want our users to be very comfortable when using this and to transition smoothly. So that's what we're aiming for.
When you think about the blockchain technology, maybe we can give the people a little bit of a glimpse of an understanding what blockchain means. So it's getting rid of any centralized platform. Why is this technology such a big revolution for the media industry?
That's a great question. So essentially how the current internet infrastructure works is any kind of request for content has to be forwarded to the exact physical location where that is hosted. So this kind of centralization creates a single point of failure that any kind of government or malicious actor can essentially take advantage of. And unfortunately, we see this being the case for journalism specifically. In this digital age, most of the journalism and news content that people consume is online. It is digital news. But unfortunately, a lot of this digital news and user experience online is censored. It goes through some means of censorship. And so blockchain and other decentralized solutions make it to where no single entity, user or individual can control the flow of information. Instead, you have these kinds of multiple redundancies in storage, in access, and in distribution of content that makes it to where data is more accessible and data is permanent on these networks.
But how do you package the product? So how do I get to the platform? How do I get maybe platform is the completely wrong word for a decentralized tool, but how, from the user perspective, as the consumer, how do I get the news product?
That's a great question. So this is more of an enterprise solution.
Okay.
So essentially, just like Wardah was saying, the goal here is to make it invisible, to make it to where someone who is consuming news on CNN, on BBC, on these big, through these big journalism sites, they wouldn't even know that this is happening. We would sit at the infrastructure layer. So all the back-end content of any kind of journalism, Al Jazeera or any kind of site such as this would be handled by Inkrypt, and then we would have integrations between content management services and other front ends.
I install something like a reader or a player or something, the API into my whatever I use, my device.
Exactly, computer, phone, laptop, anything.
So there's two ends to it. That's the enterprise solution end. At the same time, how we're essentially crowdsourcing storage. distributed storage. So this is we're basically essentially Uberizing storage in the sense that any individual with a phone, laptop, or desktop with excess storage space can rent out that storage space and host content and be compensated for the hosting of data.
So the true idea of peer-to-peer networks.
Exactly.
So when first we had cloud computing, now we have crowd computing.
Yeah, you can say that.
So, but when you talk, you said it's an enterprise solution.
Yeah.
So how easy is it? So to know a little bit the media industry, sometimes the decision makers are not the youngest technologists you can meet in the landscape. How easy is it to pitch the product to them?
No, that's a really good question. And that was a problem that we were experiencing in the beginning and are wanting to work around. People in the media and journalist industry, by nature of their job, aren't the most tech savvy, unfortunately. And so that's why we're coming to conferences like MEDIENTAGE, so that we can give people an education regarding blockchain and see where they stand, see how far away they are. And we've been surprised, a lot of journalists in this space have heard of blockchain. They might not know exactly how it works, what the exact use cases are, but they've definitely heard of it because of people just suggesting it as a solution to relevant issues like fake news and censorship. So they're definitely aware of it, but they don't understand how exactly it is usable. And so when we are speaking to journalists about it, we have to oftentimes break it down in simplest terms and explain it to how we're explaining it right now, where it's essentially a way to prevent anyone from controlling the flow of information. And luckily people are familiar with it, but something that we're coming here and explaining them about much more is the use cases, essentially.
So, do you think about other business models for blockchain in the media industry as well? Was just one idea, or did you have a bunch of ideas and said, let's start with this?
That's a great question. In the beginning, when we first started, so a little bit about our team's background, first of all of us come from Pakistan and countries like Saudi Arabia and the Middle East. So we're no strangers to kind of how censorship works. We grew up with YouTube being blocked, with Facebook being blocked. We've seen entire media organizations
even being shut down for speaking against the government.
Exactly, right before elections. And so the main issue we were tackling was censorship, and we saw censorship mainly when it came to journalism and media. So when we first developed our first MVP or our first proof of concept, we developed a microblogging application that was anonymized for publishers and consumers. But then when we developed that, we realized that this technology can be leveraged for much more than just journalism and media. And there are much more applications for this.
So to make this a little bit more visible to the audience, it feels a little bit like something like Twitter without a centralized infrastructure. If you tell me like a microblogging service, most of you may have Twitter in mind, but there's not the central medium.
We compare, we
Yeah,
compare
perfect.
ourselves to them.
Sounds like a great idea, by the way. Thanks
you.
for presenting this here in Munich at the Medientage.
No, thank you for inviting us.
Yeah,
it's
you're
been a
more
great
than welcome.
experience.
More than welcome. And if you have questions in here, so there's the comment section, and your names and your company is in the program schedule. So feel free to look it up. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much, Michael.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
You.